Hey everyone, welcome in to another daily editorial here on the KE Report. This is a special video daily editorial as we are getting an update from Labrador Gold, traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol LAB and on the OTCQX under the symbol NKOSF. I am chatting with the president and CEO, Roger Moss. Now, Labrador Gold is focused at the Kingsway property in Newfoundland. This project is really connected to a couple well-known other exploration companies in Newfoundland, and the company has been drilling out the Big Vein area as well as testing out some other areas on the project. And quite frankly, the company has been hitting some pretty impressive gold occurrences across a couple different zones here. So Roger has put together a couple maps and a couple slides for us to follow along on a couple news releases that have come out. The first news release we're going to focus on here is from January 12th. The company reported some results from high-grade intercepts of near-surface gold mineralization along the Appleton Fault Zone, again on the Kingsway project. The headline number was a little over 50.5 grams per ton gold over 2 meters. Roger, take us through this first slide outlining some of these drill results that we saw on January 12th, please.
Sure, Cory. Thanks. Great to be back chatting to you and your listeners again. Yeah, we put this out as you mentioned last week. It was the first results that we had put out for a while with a break over the holidays, and lab's been backed up. But you know, obviously we're continuing to drill, and this was what I thought was a pretty nice release in several respects. You mentioned the 50.5 grams a ton over 2 meters. That was a little deeper down below the footwall of the HTC zone. So this is potentially another zone that we've hit down there. So we're not exactly sure how it fits into the HTC and the HTC footwall zone just yet, but certainly it was a good result, and it's, you know, it's a good hit down there in the footwall to the footwall, if you like. So a couple of other things that were interesting in these results, and one is that Big Vein. Now we call the whole thing the Big Vein target, but we also have a Big Vein zone within that target, like we have the HTC zone, the HTC footwall zone. So the Big Vein zone, as we're moving down to the southwest, we seem to be getting wider intercepts, and we announced one of those last week in that news release, and we got something like almost 3 grams a ton over 29 meters. So that's an interesting interval. It's not the super high grade stuff that we've been seeing over at the HTC zone, but you know, that's a long interval. It did have a little bit of higher grade gold within it, 16 grams over a meter. And again, this one, we're not quite sure where it fits exactly into the different zones that we've been chasing. We know that it's below Big Vein. Is it part of the HTC zone? We're not quite sure yet. And again, one of the other intervals that we got was another 3 gram per ton over 4 meters, and that was actually further up, closer to surface, and part of the Big Vein zone, but further east than we've seen the mineralization. So it is a little puzzling that we're getting these hits in different places, and it'll take a little time to get to put them all together. But the takeaway here, 2 takeaways really on this slide is one, we're still getting high grade in the HTC zone or zones, and as we go southwest along Big Vein, the intervals seem to be getting wider. So that's I think both of those results are good news.
So Roger, in terms of the near surface component that was outlined in that news release, how deep are some of these intercepts from Big Vein, but also from the HTC zone and maybe even this new HTC zone?
Well, the big vein is very close to surface. It's usually in the order of about 0 to because it does crop out, obviously, but down to about 50 meters. The HTC zone we can see in the next slide here, which is the long section. And what we can see here, the purple red colors are the highest grades. You can see the 50 grams a ton over 2 meters right here, sitting in the middle. So that's about 100 meters down, 100 meters deep vertically. But you can see we have assays down here to probably about 175, 200 meters, and it's still open at depth. So one of the issues that we've been dealing with here at Big Vein is that the drills that we have, they tap out at about 300 meters. We've just recently brought in a bigger drill that's capable of drilling much deeper than that. I'm told it can drill down to 1,000 meters. We probably won't go that far just yet, but certainly we want to be able to tap in down below this 200-meter level on the HTC zones and see how deep that actually goes, because you know, we know from our neighbors down south that they're still intersecting good gold mineralization at depth, and I suspect, based on just looking at this plunging high-grade mineralization, that this is going to be a similar story.
Okay, so the neighbors down south that you were referring to, newfound gold, that escaped my mind on the intro there. I guess we should talk about then the next news release that talks about the doubling of the company's drill program, now up to 100,000 meters. This clearly, some of this exploration and discoveries are fairly early on, so 100,000 meters, that should give you a lot more information. What can you tell us about that increase in the drill program here, Roger?
Yeah, it was a you know, this is a slide here that shows basically what we've been doing over the last probably 6 months or so. And I think, you know, when you say that you're going to be drilling 100,000 meters, it's not something that we say lightly. We do believe that we have numerous targets that are ready to be drilled, and we've got more targets in the pipeline that we're developing. So just so you can see here, we don't have to go through all of them, but you know, Golden Glove was a discovery we made last October, and that was huge. That was visible gold in quartz vein outcrop, and you can see here probably the highest sample out of there was 338 grams a ton, and in a grab sample from Golden Glove, and there were a bunch of others that were just slightly lower than that. And the mineralization here at Golden Glove, very similar to Big Vein. So that was great. People have been wondering when we're drilling that. We have permits lined up or in the application process to be able to drill that. We've done more work, geophysics and soil sampling in this area. We're waiting for the soil samples. We have the geophysics, and it looks interesting. As we move up, as I said, we don't have to go through all this, but we've got rock samples, we've got soil samples. And one thing to notice here, these are the grades of the soil samples in grams per ton. So the only soil samples I've put up here are over a gram, the round circles. So, you know, there are some areas like in here and up here. Some of them are swampy areas, but others are where we do have soil anomalies. They're just not over a gram. If I had put soil samples with more than, say, 100 ppb, which is still really good for soil samples, we would probably cover the map. So that gets a bit much. So anyway, these are the areas that we've been looking at. And just to give you an example, if we go back, say, 6 months, this is what that map looked like. There's no Golden Glove. There are very few other areas on here that have now filled out what I like to call the string of pearls, and the string, of course, being the Appleton Fault Zone, which is ever present, coming along here, going from the southwest up to the northeast. And all these occurrences and anomalies are kind of the pulls on the string. And if we look down south, we can see exactly the same thing: Keats, Golden Joint, Lotto, Big Dave. People are familiar with those on Newfound's property. And then so we're developing these anomalies, and these are the areas that we're going to drill. I think, it's easy to say, yeah, we're going to drill 100,000 meters, but you have to back it up, I think, with the targets, or at least the possibility of developing those targets to be able to go ahead with it.
Oh, fair enough, Roger. You guys have definitely generated a lot more targets. It's a little small on this scale, at least on my screen. Can you take us through the overall strike length here that really extends from that newfound area up to the top targets that you have there?
Yeah, so I mean, you can't really read it on here. That's true, but these are just intervals between the different occurrences. The overall strike length of the Appleton Fault on the Kingsway property is about 12 kilometers, and you can see most of that is, or a lot of that area is already covered with anomalies and occurrences. Clearly, we do have more in this area down here, which is about a 3 kilometer area around Big Vein. That's obviously where we spent most of our time. We've done a lot of drilling at Big Vein, as you mentioned, and we've done a lot of prospecting around there. So a lot of the gold that we've discovered, a lot of the gold anomalies come from around Big Vein here. So that's not surprising. But we have gone out further afield, and we're still getting anomalies along the Appleton Fault. So we're confident that these will turn into good drill targets. And just so that we have an idea, this is the same map with the anomalies and the occurrences on it. And these orange circles that you can see, hopefully some bigger than others, are areas that we have either received drill permits for or that we're in the process of permitting. And you can see we're targeting most or a lot of these anomalies that we've seen. This area in here, this is relatively new, so we haven't yet permitted that area. That'll be permitted at some point. So again, we're developing these anomalies and targets with prospecting, with geochemistry, and with geophysics, and that's continuing. In fact, there's so little snow out there right now that the guys were out prospecting in this area again yesterday. So that's extended our field season quite a bit, and we're still in there looking to follow up on these anomalies right here. So I think there are something like 13, 14 areas that are either permitted or in the permitting process for this upcoming drill program.
So Roger, do you have any more, I guess, information on how those 100,000 meters of this current drill program are going to be allocated? Is it going to be more towards Big Vein, more towards some of these newer targets? Do you know the allocation right now?
No, not really. I think we mentioned in our news release earlier today that we're going to add another rig, so we'll have 5 rigs. My guess right now, my plan would be to probably keep 2 at Big Vein and have the other 3 drilling these other targets. Obviously, Golden Glove is a important target, one that we want to get drilling as soon as we can. So there'll be a drill rig down there. There is a drill rig up in this area here, which we call the pristine target because of these pristine gold grains that we found up there. And we've seen some good mineralization in quartz veins prior to starting drilling there that basically gave us the confidence to go in and start drilling. We started there, I think that was in November. So we should be getting results soon, I hope. And we're all very anxious to see what comes out of the pristine target. So as I said, right now we have three drills at Big Vein, one at the pristine target, And as we get more permits coming in, we'll probably move a rig from Big Vein out to the more regional targets, and also we'll get that fifth rig in to which will also be put out on regional targets.
So final question then, Roger. Budget and cash in the bank. What is the budget for this program? How much cash do you guys have?
Well, we're really fortunate. I mean, obviously you can't just go out and say you're going to drill 100,000 meters if you don't have the budget to back it up. So we do have about $30 million in the bank. The cost of the program will be it's about 15 million, but that includes about 23,000 meters of the original 50,000 that we haven't drilled yet. So basically, we're drilling about 73,000 meters with $15 million. And I think you know, in our mind, it's money well spent. It's what our shareholders expect us to do, and we believe that we have the targets and can generate those targets to fulfill that program.
Okay, Roger, thank you for this update. I hope that these accompanying slides helped everybody follow along with, first of all, those drill results, and then the increase to the overall drill program. If any of you have any questions for Roger, please email me, fleck@kereport.com. I will get those addressed for you, and we'll follow up on the back of some more drill results that sound like they should be fairly consistent, plus the drilling that is continuing. Roger, thank you again for your time, and we'll follow up on the back of some more news.
That's great, Cory. Thanks very much.